Good evening, softball fans. Welcome back to Bob Van Impe Stadium at the Gordie Howe Sports Complex. Kyle Smith and Chris Abbott here with you for the call of game number 8, the final one on the docket for the Super 8 International Men's Four Nations Cup. Boy, have we been treated to some just outstanding softball here thus far, Chris.
Yeah, the first 7 games, Kyle, have been phenomenal. That's not hyperbole. It's like every game we see something new, and it's been a whole lot of fun.
New Zealand batting order, they are the visitors, decked in gray with black sleeves. Benny Noka leads things off. Jerome Raimaki bats second. Riley Makia will bat in the 3 spot. Cole Evans bats 4th. Thomas Inoka batting in the 5th spot. Tikarika Cooper Nicola bats 6th. Reese Evans, the 3rd baseman, he's in the 7th spot. Cam Watts bats 8th, and Tani Mumu in the lineup batting 9th. Defensively, it's Matthew Waugh in left field, Bradley Ezekiel in center, and Jordan Pomeroy left to right across in the outfield. Brian Avery, Shane Boland, Ty Sebastian, and Colin Walsh around the horn on the infield. Blake Hunter behind the plate. And Devin McCullough, Chris, gets the start.
We haven't seen Devin McCullough since opening night, where he pitched 5 perfect innings, and he's back on the mound here in his hometown, ready to go.
Under the lights, we play ball on Saturday night here in Toontown. Opener for strike 1. We are underway at 7:16 p.m. Glad to have you along wherever you're watching from. Rise ball. Misses for ball 1.
Devin McCullough was absolutely outstanding in his first game against Japan. This will be a good test to see if it was more about him or more about the hitters for Japan that have been struggling. But he had them missing by a wide margin.
Devo works to the corner, called for a strike. The Blue Crew in their final assignments of the weekend. Daryl Helmer calling the balls and strikes. Mike Morrissey down at first base. Ed Otterman out at second. And it is Terry Richter over at third. Into the dirt for ball 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
If you join us for the first time on the weekend, well, shame on you for one, because you've missed a lot of good softball. But Ben Inoka has been his usual self. He's had strong at-bats. He's hitting about 400. And he's, as usual, the catalyst for the New Zealand offense.
Right back up the middle. Devo flashes the leather and on to first for the out of the inning.
Well, I don't think you can hit this much harder if you're Ben Inoka. We've always seen McCullough fall off the mound to that side. This time it really helps him out. Now, Shane Boland may have been right there, but McCullough has that exaggerated fall off the mound, and it certainly helped him out that time.
Yeah, worked to his advantage there. So 1 up, 1 down. Now Jerome Raimaki is at the plate. He takes for ball 1.
Raimaki this week has had a superb eye at the plate, and when he's made contact, as usual, the ball's exploded off his bat.
Therefore, called strike 1. 1-1. Chris, I think it would be safe to say this is possibly, quite frankly, a starting lineup we would see on Tuesday night in the rematch here with the Black Sox.
Yeah, I think for both sides, we were curious, Kyle, because, obviously there's a lot on the line, a championship game, but this is the warm-up for the big dance coming up in Prince Albert. They have a huge opening day matchup coming up just a few days away. Nobody's hiding anything, though. They're going best on best here.
McCullough. It's a 2-1. Took a little bit off and missed for ball 3.
What it does lead me to believe, and I could be wrong, Kyle, is that we are probably looking at a Sean Clary Pitt-Arona starting matchup on Tuesday.
3-1 count. Off the plate, ball 4. So Raimaki headed down to first base by way of a free pass. And now Riley Makia will come striding to the plate.
Maki has been on base a bunch, but he hasn't really gotten the back going, Kyle. A lot of walks. We haven't seen much in the way of power or driving the ball to the gaps from him just yet.
Still a blue sky, a little overcast overhead as that one skips into the dirt for ball one.
One thing we have seen, unfortunately for Maki, is a whole lot of balls in around his feet, his arms. He's been hit by a couple. One common thread is that every pitcher has made sure he's not comfortable in the batter's box.
Devo in onto the corner for called a strike, 1-1. That one misses again for a ball.
We got the roll call going on in the chat one more time. Kyle, this is a late start in Eastern Canada. It's an early afternoon start for our friends in New Zealand. And prime time here in Saskatchewan.
Off speed. Abry on a knee to second for one, to one for two. A tremendous play by Brian Abry.
Makia gets a good piece of that. Abry in his second start at third. Nice turn by Ty Sebastian. And just like that, erasing the threat, Devin McCullough getting some help from his defense. And we've seen great defense from everybody in this tournament. Canada showing a little bit of their own.
Back with you here in Saskatoon and the Four Nations Cup, the culmination here between New Zealand and Canada. Batting order for Canada, it's Matthew Waugh, Shane Boland, Bradley Ezekiel, 1, 2, 3 in the lineup. Ty Sebastian's going to hit fourth and play second base. Quentin Bruce, the designated player tonight, he's batting fifth. Jordan Pomeroy will be in the sixth spot. Blake Hunter bats seventh. Colin Walsh down in the eighth spot tonight. And Brian Abry rounds out the order. Defensively, for New Zealand, it's Riley Makia, Benny Noka, Tikatika, Cooper, Nicola, out left to right across in the outfield. Reese Evans, Cole Evans on the left side. Tani Mumu at second base. Jerome Rymaki is over at first. Cam Watts gets the start tonight behind the plate for Thomas Inoka. Not Thomas Inoka, Thomas Makia, the head coach. Liam Potts gets the start today for New Zealand.
Only a matter of time before Thomas Inoka is on the coaching staff here, but he's still got some miles left in those cleats. Thomas Inoka, the designated player tonight for New Zealand. And Matthew Waugh in his familiar spot at the top of the order here. Liam Potts has been good. Coming from the left side, Canada traditionally has struggled against left-handed pitchers. Let's see how this goes this evening.
The only difference with this left-hander is a bit hard throwing, as that one catches the plate for strike one. You remember it's Heine Shannon that would give Canada fits, a little bit of a thumber, spinner, off-speed specialist. I would say Potts, in contrast, hard-throwing lefty. It's a three-man pitching rotation here for New Zealand this week, as that one climbs in for called a strike by Darryl Helmer.
Well, Heine Shannon would not want to remember the last outing against Canada on this field. Back to the scene of the crime, the 2015 World Championship victory for the Canadians. Matthew Waugh in that game.
0-2 count. Just off the plate. Trying to stretch, see how far that strike zone would expand. 1-2. Matty Waugh with that left foot staunchly planted on that back line. 1-2. Outside and low for ball 2. 2-2, and a feeling out process here, Chris, in the early going.
Well, Liam Potts will turn 22 in August, but that doesn't faze him at all.
2-2 count for Potts. Down to first, Rymaki gathers it. Steps on the bag for the out. Hard hit twist there by Matty Waugh.
Potts comes, catches a lot of the plate, and Waugh catches a lot of the softball. Ray Mackey will calmly step on first. He does a good job getting down to block that.
So Shane Boland here at the plate. In for a call to strike.
Change up at the top of the zone. Shane went down looking a couple of times earlier today.
There you overload the left side. Off speed. Boland out in front. Last night against New Zealand, Shane was 1 for 2 with 2 walks and a run scored. RBI single. And he lifts that one foul. And earlier today reached on a fielder's choice with 2 strikeouts. So Shane would like to get a little momentum leaving Saskatoon.
Yeah, luckily the guys behind him have picked it up pretty good, and there's only a matter of time before this guy gets into his groove.
Rolled over that one foul. But though you'd say struggle at the plate, not carrying it to the defensive side, he has made some gems out at shortstop.
Yeah, I mean, he's been doing it for so long. He's more comfortable there than anywhere else in the world, I would imagine. And he's a leader for this Canadian team.
0-2 count. That one to the backstop. 1-2. Foul down and knocked down by Bradley Ezekiel in the on-deck circle.
I mean, the man's got great hand-eye even when he's not expecting it.
There's nothing he can't do.
I don't know if our cameras picked it up, but Shane absolutely fired that back towards Brad. It's usually a safe space to be standing behind the batter.
Potts off speed, swing and a miss by Boland.
Well, he really leaned on the changeup in this at-bat to Shane Boland, and it's what he used as well to finish him off. The Canterbury connection of Cameron Watts and Liam Potts get the first 2 batters in this Canadian order.
So Bradley Ezekiel now will step to the plate. And in for a call to strike.
Brad had a big afternoon, 2 for 3 earlier with a 2 RBI single. Hitting the ball all over the field.
Yeah, you could feel it starting to come for Brad at the plate. Swing and a miss, staying down in the zone there to Ezekiel.
Not sure how many Canadian hitters have been exposed that often to Potts.
Playing in the North American club circuit, so he's starting to be seen a lot more in the last 2 years. And they would have seen him last summer, the ones that were on the team in Prince Albert at the qualifier. Fought off the hands, and that one pushed past Jerome Ramaki. They had shifted the defense, and Bradley found a hole, pushed it through.
Well, it's not always a laser beam, but it's a good piece of hitting. He inside outs that the other way. Ramaki playing well off the line. And frankly, you'll accept a 2-out single when Brad has a goals at the plate.
Here's the guy that had the big mash earlier today, a 3-run shot from Ty Sebastian.
Yeah, it ended up being the difference in the win over the United States.
That one lifted foul.
If you haven't been with us,
side.
sorry, Kyle. If you haven't been with us all week, Canada goes 3-0 in the round robin. New Zealand, the United States, and Japan all going 1-2. New Zealand on the virtue of the tiebreaker formula. If the USA had a loss by one fewer run earlier tonight, it would be a rematch against Canada, but they ended up claiming bronze against Japan.
Had their stool bucket not been hit on a play, Jonathan Lynch would have scored, and that would have been the difference maker to put USA here in the 1-2 game.
Yes, the Americans with some paraphernalia outside the dugout costing them a run.
Ty gets into that. That's going to get up. That's going to carry over to left field. Say goodbye, home run. Ty Sebastian does it again for Team Canada. They lead it 2-0 in the bottom of the first.
Ty Sebastian having a day. That's his second big home run to left field. Comes with 2 outs here in the bottom of the first inning. He got under this one, Kyle. And on day 1 and 2 of this tournament, that's probably not a home run. No wind at all here at Bob Van Impe Stadium tonight. And he takes this inside drop ball from Liam Potts and deposits it into the left field bleachers to give Canada a 2-0 lead. You got to make that play, sir, though. That's got to be made.
Well, and you saw the pitch. It was a miss by Potts as well. That went center cut, and Ty Sebastian did not miss. As that opener for a strike, Quentin Bruce having a discussion with Daryl Helmer. So a quick jump, 2-0 lead for Canada. And Quentin gets down to that one. Looks like maybe one of the ball teams is out there in left field, Chris.
Yeah, there's a number of provincial tournaments going on here. There's, 8 ball diamonds at this complex, somewhere around that number. And there's been 3 different youth provincial tournaments happening yesterday, today, and tomorrow here. And glad to see some of the teams are sticking around to catch this one.
And that one misses outside 1-2. I was saying earlier and got cut off, but we walked in with a nice family of a bunch of grandparents coming in, and they said they actually came over and watched a game, and boy, were they impressed.
Well, it just gives you an idea of what the game is like, played at its best level. Frankly, if it's me and I'm coaching one of those teams, I've got all my kids over here.
Yeah. Check on the swing. Did not go. 2-2. Yeah, I'd probably be late to all our games because I'd need to be over here watching this.
Expecting record-breaking crowds in Prince Albert. It's the culmination for the host committee there of a number of events over the last few years. And they get the big tuna, the Men's World Cup, starting next week.
Lifted up on the left side. Reese Evans gives chase. He'll settle under it and make the grab for the third out. But again, Ty Sebastian with the big bash. A 2-run shot leads it 2-0 after 1 here in Saskatoon. top half of the second inning here in Saskatoon. Glad you're spending some time with us here tonight on your Saturday night. We've got a good one here between two powerhouse softball teams, Canada and New Zealand, as that pitch misses from McCullough.
McCullough might have missed his spot a little bit. It looked like Blake had to stab back at it. I think it might have went the wrong direction on him. Might have been one of those that catches you on the palm as well.
There's a good shot for McCullough, 1-1.
Second game behind the plate for Blake Hunter. He caught on opening night against Japan.
Comes inside. Ball 2, 2-1.
Cole Evans, for anyone who hasn't had the chance to watch him play very much, is just a complete pleasure, a complete player.
That pitch misses, 3-1. Thomas Inoka in the on-deck circle. 2 hops. Boland on to first. Neat and tidy from Shane.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a slow roller. Bounced a few times. Boland playing back. Gets a good strong throw off to beat the speedy Evans by a step.
Nice leg kick there on the end for an added twist. Devin works, and he'll throw that off-speed pitch up and outside.
So what you're telling me is Trevor Topping's not the only one with a nice leg kick out there in the middle of the diamond.
That's right.
I know you're supposed to stay away from inside jokes, but
Abry settles his feet neatly on to first. 2 down.
Tell you what, Kyle, really like what I've seen from Brian Abry at third base. This is his second start. He also played there against Japan. Obviously, he started that beautiful double play earlier tonight. Another nice play there.
Yeah, last summer in Prince Albert, it was the platoon between the catchers and third baseman, Blake Hunter, Brian Abry, flip-flopping from game to game as that one busts in on the inside as Hunter went outside. But played really solidly there, did Hunts and Abry. And misses top side. Brian Abry playing well off the line. Shane played a little shaded to the middle. That's becoming more the norm for the third baseman in open softball. As that ball lifted up, in comes Matthew Waugh. He'll settle under it and make the catch. 3 down. After 1.5, 2-0 for Team Canada.
Welcome to Mont Hill Golf and Country Club. With our beautiful 27-hole golf course open to the public, we work tirelessly to ensure your time with us is second to none. Well, here you'll be able to enjoy an incredible dining experience at our very own Big Pete's Steakhouse. Play some of the best courses in the world with our state-of-the-art golf simulators. Upgrade your gear with the top brands at our pro shop, or host a stunning wedding, event, or conference inside one of our beautiful ballrooms. Learn all this and more at monthill.ca. We can't wait to see you soon.
Bottom half of 2 here in Saskatoon. Kyle Smith, Chris Abbott here on Saturday night under the lights at Bob Van Impe Stadium in Gordie Howe Park.
Yeah, under the big sky out here in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Lights are on, but there's still some blue sky here, Kyle. We've had a great weekend. Great weekend for ball.
Now a hot air balloon floating in the distance, straightaway center field. Just cruising on by. That pitch misses.
Don't know that our cameras will pick that up. It's got the markings of a well-known real estate firm. We will not give them any more advertising than they're getting to the people in the park.
We had a flyby earlier as part of the Saskatoon Berries game. Chris thought it might be the end as the big plane. I mean, the plane was low for sure, and they were flashing lights.
When they started flashing the lights, I was like, do we need to get out of the way here?
1-1. Busted inside. Ball two. 2 balls and a strike. And you go back to last night, Chris, with Liam Potts on the mound. Had command issues finding the strike zone. Has settled in nicely here tonight, contrasting to 24 hours ago.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the two guys. Pomeroy at the plate was the player of the game for Canada last night. And Potts, you know, he was hitting his spots last night, but he and the home plate umpire for that game, and I actually don't remember who it was, they just weren't on the same page, right? What one thought was a strike, the other didn't. Yeah. And it's only one person's opinion that matters in that situation.
2-1. Busted inside. Pomeroy just gets a piece to foul it off.
Speaking of umpires, our home plate umpire tonight, Daryl Helmer, will be accompanying all of us to Prince Albert. He will be one of a couple of Canadian umpires on the WBSC crew.
2-2. Played it on the hop. Mumu on to Raimaki for the first out.
Kyle, if there's any young infielders out there watching, you can take a page out of Tane Mumu's book here. This one bounces in front of the plate, and before it's allowed to bounce again, Mumu gets there. The infield here is pretty true to you, but I can assure you that a lot of your home ballparks, if you let that bounce a second time, you're going to get in a lot of trouble. It's always great to charge that ball when you can.
Well, I think even here, if Mumu lets that bounce that second time, it's taking a hop up his arm as he played it neatly. I know there's 2 young ball players watching back home, Peyton and Parker. My oldest, Peyton, and his buddy Parker watching, and got a picture. They're debating the merits of softball. Hey, there's a strike to the outside corner. Another overload on the defense.
Yeah, we've seen this from New Zealand. They overload one side of the field and then a low rise ball to the outside part of the plate.
They are definitely getting their steps in here this week. In, out, sideways, forwards. And that pitch misses. Ball 1. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Potts. He comes inside, swing and a miss by Hunter. Down on strikes goes Blake for the second out. Second strikeout for Liam Potts.
Yeah, they're working him outside, then bust inside with a drop ball. Some more good sequencing from Watson Potts.
Here's a guy for Canada that has been just making great contact, but has been a little snake bitten on hitting it right to players. But for Colin Walsh, as the saying goes, the ball's going to find a way in here at some point for you.
Yeah, if you're Colin Walsh and you're striking out 3 times a game, you'd have a little bit of a different opinion. But he's been all over it. He's had some bad luck, and he's poked a couple through.
And there's strike to the corner. He did it last night, came through with a hit, and then again today comes up with a base knock. Now you got competing hot air balloons out in center field, Chris. I'd have to call that hot air balloon race. Potts outside, ball 2, 2-1.
And that's where Potts was working last night. And he's not the only pitcher to see how much he can get away with, how far out, how far low. Important thing for Potts is he's hitting the spot where he wants to be. Off
speed, swing and a miss by Colin Walsh. 2-2. Canada stays in their black uniforms. Swing and a miss on the drop for out number 3. And sends us to the top half of the third here at the Four Nations Cup in Saskatoon. We're back. Top of 3. Reese Evans, Cam Watts, Tane Mumu. Due to the plate.
Tell you what, I've really liked Reese Evans here in this tournament as well. His defense has been impeccable. He's poked a few hits through. It's the kind of guy that New Zealand's going to need to lean on to help get the bottom of the order, bring it around to the top.
McCullough off speed. Out in front of that was Evans.
Tell you what, that Rawlings optic ball, it's getting a little messy.
One ball, one strike. In for strike 2.
That's a real nice low rise from Devin McCullough.
One, 2 count. Off speed, out on the right side. Foul.
Well, we've seen lots of pitchers using their off speed, and there's not many better than Devin McCullough when it comes to the changeup, which means it's even more impressive that Reese Evans is able to get a piece there.
Yeah, just pushes that on the right side. It's a 1 ball, 2 strike count here to leadoff hitter Reese Evans. Canada out in front 2-0. And inside 2-2.
Kyle, just keeping an eye on the chat. We've got people watching from all over North America. We've got people watching from all over Oceania. Thanks to all of you for joining us here. This is the last game for Softball Premier, but we're just going to change the branding next week. Check us out on GameTime.sport.
Up ball lifted up, right side. Walsh gives chase on the backhand. Makes the catch. Going away from the diamond. Nice play there by Colin Walsh.
I thought this was definitely in the stands. Walsh stays with it, stays with it, stays with it. And a great job coming down with that and knowing where the fence was. And that's one of those where the dugout kind of juts out and you're not sure exactly where you're going to be. It's a nice play from Colin.
Well, you could see as he went after it, he was sort of stutter stepping a little bit, trying to find his footing and find where he was on the diamond. And a nice play there by Walsh to make it on the backhand with his back to the diamond. Cam Watts now at the plate. In for called strike 2. Outside corner just misses. Ball 1.
That was close. I'm sitting right off the corner of that plate. Maybe a little low. It was a good looking pitch.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Nice play. Avery on the run. In time. Took the hop.
Tell you what, Kyle, Brian Avery.
They're going to ask here if there was catcher interference. I thought I heard 2 noises, and Thomas is checking with the umpires. Maybe if we can roll back that replay again, Claudio. See if we see any movement on Hunter's glove.
Or maybe.
Yeah, possibly.
It did seem to go down right around the time of the swing. Thomas Macchia was all over it.
Yeah, it looks like maybe. But Hunter also, he did actually, and if you watch Blake's his response, he does pull that glove in.
They're going to say that Watts is out on the ground out. Inconclusive. But this is a good time to plug next week when we're going to have challenges and video review at the WBSC World Cup. And to finish my thought, Brian Avery's a big man over there on third base. He's not your prototypical third baseman, but he's really quick over there.
Yeah. Covers a lot of ground too, right? Like, and he's very smooth on the diamond. I said it the other night, Brian Avery probably one of the more underrated players in recent memory.
Oh, I think so. I think so. He's played on a lot of good teams surrounded by a lot of good players, but there's been years, like at the Canadian National Championships, I've seen him as a pickup where he's played a bit of a more prominent role, and you can really get a chance to appreciate him there.
2-0 in for called strike 1.
I think his ability to call a game is also underrated behind the plate.
Yeah.
He was player of the game this morning for Canada against the United States.
2-1. Rise ball, swing and a miss. There's the bread and butter of Devin McCullough. Similar to another Saskatchewan native, Dean Holine, who used to use the rise ball as his bread and butter pitch.
You need about 4 Devin McCulloughs to make a Dean Holine, though. I mean, he was just a special ball player, that guy. I'm sure we'll see him this week.
Actually, he's out at Canada Cup.
Oh, we won't
with
see him
his
this week.
twos organization playing out there. That ball lined and gets into the dugout.
And that's tough to do over there. Looks like everybody's okay.
That one must have buzzed the tower. Wayne Small right in the doorway.
Wayne's playing it off.
There's really not much left for us to see here this week. We
No.
have seen a little bit of everything during our games, and we'll say this now. Do not leave early. Mumu lifts that up. Pomeroy makes the catch on the palm, but secures it nonetheless. Up and down. 2-0 Canada leads. Bottom of the third, it's Brian Avery leading things off out of the 9th spot. Abes has been busy over at third base here to start the ball game. Now he'll get his chance to get a plate appearance. 2-0 Canada and Ty Sebastian's 2-run shot back in the first inning.
Earlier today against the U.S., it was Brian Avery that got things going against Marco Diaz. He had mowed down the first 6 batters. Check that, 7 batters. And Avery came up, worked himself a base hit to the opposite field, and that was the start of a 5-run third inning for Canada, and that's all the offense they needed.
Yeah, it was Avery and Mitch McKay that got that started that inning. Back-to-back singles. As that one goes 1-1.
Another time there, Kyle, where Tane Mumu goes over to the shortstop side of second base before the pitch, and it's a low rise ball outside to Brian Avery.
Work to the edge. Can't nibble enough. 2-1. Fought off the hands into the glove of Raimaki at first base.
Again, we talked earlier today about Brian Avery and his strength on those inside pitches. That time he just got sawed off, and Raimaki was over to make the play.
So back to the top of the order here with Matthew Waugh. That's you another one of these mainstay national team guys for Canada. As that one goes to the bottom side for ball 1.
Waugh carrying the mantle for Quebec for an awful long time on the national stage. There was a run in the late first decade, early second decade of this century where I don't know where I was trying to go with that, where the senior teams out of Quebec were actually quite competitive, and he was a big part of that.
2-0 count to the corner for strike 1.
To the point where they had Darren Zach pitching for them at the tail end of his career.
Yep.
Greg Garrity was throwing for them at a point.
2-1. That one spins inside ball 3. There's 2 national team guys for Canada of years gone by.
I saw a clip the other day of Garrity throwing last year. He's still at it?
Yeah, still playing. Ben Watts is getting loose down in the bullpen. As Liam, 3-1 pitch. Backhand, take a step back, now fire it over to first by Tane Mumu.
Well, I talked about Mumu charging the ball. Sometimes the ball charges you. And Mumu has to take a step back, but the throw off the back foot right there, super impressive by the second baseman for New Zealand.
Shane Boland now at the plate. He struck out back in the first inning. And lifted up. Raimaki gives chase, but to no avail. Somebody's going to get $1 in their pocket here momentarily.
There is a race on for that ball.
What the people up on the bleachers don't know is there was a young lad right beside where the ball landed. So he hit a good 10-second head start. Liam, 0-1. Shane, fight off the hands. It's Mumu making the catch on the shortstop side of second base. Will end the inning. 2-0 Canada leads after 3. Come back with more here in Saskatoon. Back with you. Devin McCullough on the mound tonight for Canada as he sends that one between the B and V.
Well, 8 innings now for Devin McCullough in the tournament, and where he's faced the minimum number of batters through those 8 innings. You'll give him that one to the screen.
Yeah, I'm back to the top of the order for Benny Noka here in the 4th. Just one walk here tonight, even though facing the minimum. Ramaki walked in the 1st, then was doubled off on a great play by Brian Avery off a knee to turn 2. Ben will lift that up. Long run for Pomeroy if he's going to get there. He was moved over more to right center field.
Yeah, it would have took quite the feat for Jordan Pomeroy to get there.
That fence over on the right side is short enough that he'd be able to hop it and make a catch like he did a year ago over in Mitchell, where he went up and over. 1-2 pitch. Rise ball lifted foul.
Pomeroy, another in the long line of Canadian right fielders from the province of Newfoundland, even from his hometown. Steve Mullally might have had that catch in his younger days. At least he'd tell you he would have.
I was going to say 1-2. Swing and a miss. Really nice pitch there by Devin to challenge Inoka with that rise ball. Just got enough lift over the bat of Ben.
Hey, man, Devin McCullough looking real good here in Saskatoon. And the Brass has got to hope that he carries us with him an hour north as we get into the tournament in Prince Albert. Something special when McCullough's on this mound in this Bob Van Impe Stadium, though. Canada might petition to play their home games here.
Yeah, his home stadium, so very comfortable on the mound as that went in for a strike. Just his first strikeout, though, of the night, Chris.
Yeah, he's been letting the defense do some work. A lot of work and a lot of good work.
The other night it was his turn with all the strikeouts. As that one into the dirt for ball 2.
Yeah, and that was the first game for Japan, and Japan struck out 11 times against McCullough in 5 innings. And frankly, Kyle, they didn't really put much offense up the rest of the way in their games against New Zealand and the 2 against the United States either. That's going to be something to watch for Japan as we get into the World Cup.
Outside, ball 3. 3 balls, no strikes. Yeah, how do you manufacture runs? Because actually they did most of their damage by way of home runs here this week.
Yeah, pretty much all of it.
Take it on the hop does Walsh and easily touch the bag in time. 2 down.
Colin Walsh approaches this ball gingerly. He's not sure whether to charge it or not. He does let it bounce a second time. Corrals it and steps on the bag, but you can see it like, oh, this better give me a true hop.
Yeah, he's far enough back that he can't get there for that second hop, so he's got to play it back. But you're right, you could see he was kind of just a little
He was in the ready
unsure,
position.
Yeah. He was ready to square that ball up.
He knew he had an extra step or 2 with Ray Mackey coming down the line.
Ball and lifted on the right side. Pomeroy can't get to it as it lands foul over in the bullpen of the Black Sox.
Jordan Pomeroy doing some wind sprints here in the top of the 4th. He's been shaded towards center on both of these right-handed hitters, first Inoka, now Macchio.
And going right back there, so he's got some ground to cover on the right side. Walsh playing 10 feet off the bag to second. But that one's going out center field. Bradley straight away makes the catch for the 3rd out. Nothing doing for the Black Sox here in the 4th. We'll come back for the bottom half after this.
Okay, great.
Back here at Bob Van Amp Stadium, you see on your screen the Phantoms taking it in the game out in left field. Actually, true enough, Devin McCullough's home organization here on, I believe Troy said, the west side of town here in Saskatoon. So great to see them coming over after their day is done here at their provincials.
Yeah, that Phantom, they're a scary squad. You don't want to play them. They'll put a fright into you.
Off speed misses for ball one.
We do have a change, Kyle. Seth Gibson's taken over at first base. Jerome Ray Mackey is out of the game.
That has been the MO of this New Zealand coaching staff. Off speed, that'll be a foul ball. The MO has been empty the dugout here through the course of the game, get everybody in. Lots of playing time, and as Bevan Matney said in the interview earlier on today, once we get to Prince Albert, it'll be 9-10 guys that play, and Thomas won't likely deviate from that unless needed.
Yeah, it's a short enough tournament. It's a sprint. You know, in previous years we had 7-8 game round robins. You got 3 games, and you got to advance out of 4 teams.
3 balls, 2 strikes. That one misses just inside. Off speed, right through the legs of Daryl Helmer. Keep it at 3-2.
Just a little piece of the back touch that for a foul ball.
Full count. Ball 4 misses. So Ezekiel down to first base. We saw a pinch runner earlier today for him, and just looking to the dugout, seeing if anybody's emerging, but looks as though Bradley will run here.
Still early enough in the game. I think the difference, Kyle, was he was the designated player earlier today, so running for him doesn't take him out of your defensive lineup. One of the best center fielders still in the game, so.
Inside, just getting out of the way was Ty Sebastian.
Wow, I wasn't even sure that he did. That might have burned a couple of hairs off the forearm.
Just contorted enough. That would be about as close as you can get without actually hitting him. And then you go the other way. Ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes.
Well, Sebastian's been flexing his muscle here today. A home run in each of Canada's 2 games.
On to the corner called strike 1. 2 balls and 1 strike.
5 RBIs on the day for Ty Sebastian.
Putting together a solid afternoon into the evening. And that ball lifted foul. Fouled off again.
Looked like a pretty good pitch to hit. Sebastian just getting on top of it a little bit. Obviously protecting in a 2-strike count as well.
Yeah, he changes his approach at the plate with 2 out. Gets into a little bit more of a crouch stance. 2-2. And again, fouls it off.
Making Liam Potts work for it, that's for sure. And this is the toughest part of this Canadian order. Esgel, Sebastian, Bruce. But in fairness, Canada's brought a good hitting lineup here to Saskatchewan this week.
Two. Line shot out into left field. That falls in for a base hit. 60 feet for Ezekiel puts runners on first and second. Ty Sebastian continues his hot day. Now 2 for 2.
Well, Sebastian battled off a couple of pitches that he couldn't square up. He certainly squares this one up, though, and put it on a line out to left field to Riley Macchia.
So runner in scoring position in first here for Quentin Bruce. And misses for ball 1. He had a big home run on opening night. It went out yonder past the perimeter fence here at Bob Van Imp. (2-0). Time called here by Cameron Watts, as he'd like to just settle things a little bit. You can feel maybe the wheels rattling.
Yeah, it's a critical point in the game as well. You don't want to let it get any further away, and you've got Quentin Bruce and a good hitter's count now with 2 runners on and nobody out. Jordan Pomeroy, who's been on the ball, behind him.
Quentin covers so much of the plate. Long arms, can get to the outside easily, but such quick hands too. Ball in play, glove down. Evans to second. He gets the in-between runner for the first out. Nice scoop by Reese at third.
Yeah, he had a couple options. He could have came across the diamond, but he saw that he had some time on Sebastian running to second. Made the play there. Mumu faked the throw to first, then quickly turned to look at third, but you're not going to catch Brad Esgel sleeping over there.
Yeah, talk about sleeping. It was the game last night. Ty Sebastian, who picked off Benny Noka at third base and lifted foul.
Yeah, that's just another one on the list of we've seen a little bit of everything here this week. I tell you, folks, if you're bored the next couple of days looking to kill some time between now and the start of the World Cup, go back on Softball Premier's YouTube page and watch some of these games. We have seen literally just about everything there is to see in the sport of softball.
That ball lifted on the right side, and Seth Gibson makes the catch. Going away from the diamond.
Gibson gets a good jump on this. A little bit awkward of a foul ball off the bat by Pomeroy, and Gibson, who's just in as a defensive replacement, shows his worth to get a crucial second out.
Blake Hunter now at the plate. Runners on the corners. Falls behind again, 1-0. Ben Watts looks like he's done warming. Pitta going to go and get the arm going in circles. And fouled off.
So, Kyle, this is a WBSC sanctioned event. I know we've been talking about it as a warm-up, but there's crucial Konami ranking points on the line here as well.
Yeah, so as part of the ranking system, you gather points with international competition. So with every win, you gather some points, and if you win the event, there's extra points awarded. And as we've seen, gathering points along the way can help improve your standings. Count 1 ball, 2 strikes. Into the dirt. Good hold there by Blake Hunter to run the count, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Well, Captain Obvious says you really don't want to let Brad Esgel get across. Already facing a 2-0 deficit.
2-2. Into the dirt. Ball 3. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Quentin Bruce will get a head start at first. Full count. Fouled off. Do it again.
Here in the 4th inning, Kyle, and there's only been 3 strikeouts in the Canadian lineup. Putting the ball in play is ever so important.
And haven't had a strikeout since the 2nd. 3-2. Check swing. A little roller. Foul. Gibson thought about maybe trying to see if that ball is going to roll fair.
Well, he gave it a chance. I mean, you never know what's going to happen as it's skipping and bounding just down inside the line, especially with a right-handed hitter at the plate.
Payoff pitch. Down the line and foul.
That was close.
And that was close to getting Terry Richter down at third base.
Hunter turned on that ball. Not a big protest from the Canadians. But that would have scored 2 for Canada.
Yeah, get down in the corner with Quentin Bruce and a head start. Payoff pitch again. That one fouled off. Do it one more time. We've had some good battles here tonight between the hitters and our pitchers. Here's another one with Hunter working deep into the count. Potts, 3-2 pitch. Off speed. Hunter going to lift that down into the corner. Giving chase is Riley Macchia, who will make the grab on the run and end the inning for Canada. Leave 2 on. It's a 2-0 lead after 4 here in Saskatoon. Back with you here in Saskatoon at the Bob Van Impe Stadium at the Gordie Howe Sports Complex. Being joined by a man that does it all. Host committee chairperson, head bottle washer, head fundraiser, Mr. Brian Kozorowski joining us here, part of the Sask organization that's hosting this tournament. And when you come here, you see how many events you've hosted, and it's our pleasure to be in your ballpark once again, my friend.
I'm honored having you guys back. You know, we were talking when we first got here, we were reminiscing back to the Flanagan days of 2015 and all that stuff, and it's great having you guys back here.
What a week it's been. I mean, we haven't had a bad ball game here this week. We've been treated to tight ball games, fun ball games, and good tune-ups here as we get ready for Prince Albert.
You know, everything's been high tempo here. You know, every inning, every pitch is being, you know, and the crowds, you know, they're commenting on this, and they haven't seen this type of ball since, you know, last year, and then, you know, back in the men's Canadians here. So, you know what, people are very happy, and as you say, the tempo was massive here.
It's a busy weekend in the park. With a multi-diamond complex, you have the ability to host multiple events. You've got 3 provincials going on. You've got an international contest. There's a ball game going on in the baseball stadium just beyond the fence here. It's a busy place. Pretty proud for you.
Yeah, it is. You know, I got a good team here. You know, we've raised a lot of money to make this to what it is today. And as you say, we got 8 softball diamonds here, 2 baseball diamonds. You know what, they've been going hard all weekend here.
We talked the other night. Lots of money has been fundraised to do these projects. You've got a couple more on the go, and probably looking at doing a light project here on BVI. Just walk us through kind of what's the plan for the next few years.
Well, you know, in the past, we've raised $62 million to build what we have to date. We're launching another $10 million campaign here this fall. We're going to be doing a lot of work here at BVI. We're going to probably spend about $1.2 million here in the next probably 8 months at Bob Ingham Stadium. We have some other things we got to get touched up here to maintain that level of high capacity, and you know what, keep on bringing these high-level championships and events here to Saskatoon.
Leadoff walk to Cole Evans here in the top half of the 5th inning. So let's talk about some fun, high-powered events that, there's not much that you haven't hosted. You are a true supporter of Softball Canada. I mean, you pretty much host 2 Canadian championships every year, multiple international events. What's sort of out there for you yet that, would be something you'd like to host in the next couple years?
You know, the team, I got a team here. We've been together for about 25 years here. We're looking down the road. We're gonna step around that Olympic qualifier events and see what we can grasp here and bring to Saskatoon. And we're looking at that new professional softball league down there to bring some teams here for exhibition games.
Oh, yeah.
So we're gonna be laying some seeds there. So you know what, our team is very aggressive, but it's not the team; it's the people at the park saying, if we don't bring something in, they're saying, well, what's wrong with you guys?
Right.
You know, which is a great thing, but a bad thing.
You've kind of set the expectation.
Yeah. So, and it's great, and you see the support by people here, so it's really, really good.
Talk about your relationship with Softball Canada. I mean, like I said, you host 2 Canadian championships a year. They bring an event like this here. You've hosted many times, but what's that mean to have the support of the national body?
Well, it's huge. It's huge for any organization. It's a partnership with us, and we collaborate with them nonstop. We know what's coming down the pipeline, what their needs are. It's a tit for tat thing with us and them, and we look after each other. And I've been president of SASA for 23 years, and that's 27 Canadian championships we've hosted in 23 years, man, and 2 world championships at the same time. And all these other things, and so. The volunteer base, the volunteer base, we got about 120 people that come out every year. They're aging, so we're recruiting the young people and stuff like that. So, it's a good thing, and we're proud of it, and the people here in Saskatoon are proud of it.
Yeah, I mean, hospitality is number one here. We have been treated like none else here this week, and it's always fun coming back to Saskatoon. It was great to be coming back. When you look out and you see something like this, what's kind of one of those proud moments that you can take away as you go home at the end of this?
You know what? I look at the crowd. I look at the age levels of the crowd, the kids that are coming out, the younger families coming out. That's our drive here, because we're promoting the sport of softball, and especially the men's program. Right now in Saskatoon, we got in our men's league, we got 17 men's teams here, okay, and 22 women's teams. So we're really promoting. We really focus on the men's program, and to keep that game going here in Saskatchewan. Next year we're bringing the senior men's here, the master men's, under 23 men's, and we'll look at the year after. But we're really proud of what we do in the men's program, and we really push that hard.
When you sit down and assess, how much more do you think you have left here? There's always things, time away, or this takes so much time, but does that fire still burn?
The fire
burn for you?
The fire burns for me. The fire burns for a lot of people. We're working on the future planning of bringing the younger crew in. We're grooming people as we go here.
Line drive out to right center. That's going to fall in for a base hit. Ezekiel quickly returns it to the field and put runners on the corner here as, again, Thomas Inoka comes through in a big way for New Zealand. His hot day continues as we're joined by Brian Kozorowski, part of the host committee, the lead man in charge. He has been a busy guy here this weekend, and a proud man of what's been being put on. But real quick, last thoughts. As you said, you're launching a campaign here in the fall.
Yeah.
Any thoughts or last words to encourage some donations?
Well, you know what? Donations are donations. We take from $1 to $1 million, and it's just what it is. And people got to realize that it's not hard to do that. You got to have a great team around you. You surround good people around you. You make things happen, and good things happen. And we've been successful with that. And COVID kind of really threw a wrench into things here, slowed down things a lot for everybody. And so now we're trying to wind that up again.
Well, we appreciate it and thoroughly enjoy our time here in Saskatoon. We hope we can do it again.
We will, bud. Thanks, brother.
Appreciate it. Brian Kozorowski, the lead committee chairman here in Saskatoon, part of Softball Sask SASA, the president, and just the all-around good dude here in Saskatoon, as that pitch misses for a ball at the knees. It's Tadika Cooper Nicola here at the plate for New Zealand. It's a runners on the corners. Canada out in front 2-0. McCullough facing his first test with runners on. Swing and a miss. Trying to slap his way on. Thomas Inoka is bounding out at first base with a big smile on his face. One down. Outside, ball one. On to the corner for called a strike. It's Reese Evans coming to the plate. No balls, 2 strikes. Opportunity abounding here for New Zealand. Called strike 3, looking Evans. Couldn't get the bat going. Down on strikes, 2 down here for Canada. Cam Watts now will come to the plate. Cole Evans at third. Thomas Inoka at first. Devin sends that one, dancing around, and just gets out of the way as the ball in the feet of home plate umpire Daryl Helmer. Count now 1-0. If that's the first time you've heard from Brian Kozorowski, that is how fast he moves. His brain is ticking along and always thinking about the next thing or what has to be done, and the excitement and the fire you can feel that he's got for the game here in Saskatoon. And, man, if you ever get a chance, do not pass up to come out to the Gordie Howe Sports Complex. That ball gets fouled off. I was here in 15, and, boy, things have changed in the 10 years since. So much more. He talked about $64 million raised. All projects funded. Turf, football field, You have an international track that turns into speed skating, baseball, softball. Looking to do some more turf work. Lots going on here at Gordie Howe. 1-1 pitch, fouled off through the wickets here of Blake Hunter. Got a good piece. 1-2. Quick little chat out on the mound between Hunter and McCullough. Daryl Helmer goes along for the walk. Big spot here as two runners in scoring position and a 1-2 count. Cam Watts at the plate. Misses. Ball 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Tightening up a little bit more. Justin Schofield getting loose down in left field. Two pitch. Rise ball to the backstop, but can't come as it bounces back out. And Blake Hunter quickly to it. Nice play by Blake to regather and get it back out. So the count goes full now here to Cam Watts. First base open with Tawny Mumu in the on-deck circle. Devin, 3-2 pitch. Down and in to score. Right now, I believe we've got a ball call. John Stewart out. We're going to pull the umpires or coaches together. Something's going to happen here. Thomas Inoka's come down to make a change. Now we're going to have a conversation between... Looks as though it's a ball and a run in to score. So a walk to Watts. Runner over at third. And a whole lot of things happening. There's 2 out. Reese Evans is over at first base. Supposed to be Tane Mumu coming to the plate. Looks as though it's going to be... Looks as though it's Dante Makia Marakatia. So it is Dante Makia Marakatia. Want to say hello to Peyton and Parker watching back home. Hello, boys. Hope you're enjoying this hotly contested ball game as Game 8 on the schedule, and it's the 8th game that has been close, contested. Either way it can go. In for called strike 1 to Makia Marakatea. Rise ball misses, working away. Runners back on the corners. Reese Evans at first. Thomas Inoka over at third. 1 run in, and a 2-1 lead for Canada. Pinch hitter Makia Matakatea outside. Now they got him hung up. What do you do now? Now you just let him up to second. Tough break there for Blake Hunter. So 2 into scoring position on defensive indifference. Two-one. Swing and a miss. Two-two pitch. McCullough sets. Inside called. Strike 3. Got him looking. Couldn't pull it. Devin McCullough shuts the door. A 2-1 lead headed for the bottom of the 5th. I didn't want to do an interview. Welcome back to Saskatoon and Bob Van Impe Stadium. We're going to have a pitching change here for New Zealand as Ben Watts will check into the ball game. Being joined by checking our 50-50 tickets. Chris is on it. I don't know. He's not celebrating. Doesn't look like we won. All right, being joined by Mike Brancho, CEO of Softball Canada and part of the staff here this week and part of the host group of the Four Nations Cup. Mike, welcome to the broadcast. Thanks for thanks for the invite to come out.
Hey, Kyle, thanks very much for making the trip out here. You and Chris have done a great job as Softball Premier TV as well. Always appreciate you guys giving your time here.
So as we look in, it's been for Canada, it's been a similar build-up as what USA has had, of course, with all the North American circuit commitments and requirements. It limits what you can do as a national team. So just looking at this as the build-up, overall thoughts as we're encroaching towards the end.
Obviously, Kyle, I think we're kind of restricted in Canada, and I think it was great this year that we got to start in Florida the last week of April into May. Really gave our guys the opportunity to get that start in game shape. I think game shape's the most important thing here. You can work out all you want, hit indoors, throw indoors, ground balls, fly balls, but I think you need to play. And in Florida, we got that opportunity as a group of about 26 players. So it worked out great, and you're absolutely right. Lead up here is tremendous. These 3 other teams that are part of this event with us.
That ball rolls out in front. In time at first. Nice play. Cam Watts coming out to gather that one up on Colin Walsh.
Yeah, so with these 4 teams here, I mean, obviously anybody out of the 8 can make it to the gold medal game next week. So we're looking forward to it, and obviously we're prepping for that right here with the different players in pitching, coaching strategy. So it's all there, and great weather here in Saskatoon, and happy to be at this facility.
Has it been busy when you take off your men's national team stuff? And primarily always still wearing your CEO hat, but from a Softball Canada CEO standpoint, I mean, it's been a busy week for you with two national teams down at one at a World Cup, U15 women at World Cups over in Italy. And then the women's team was down in Colombia as part of the Pan Am qualifying process. So it's been a busy week for Softball Canada teams.
25 is going to be a busy year. It's crazy. We added the U15 women's this year, as you mentioned, and also the U23 men a couple of years ago. So now we're up to U15 women, U18 both men and women, U23s, and then both the men's and women's teams. And then you throw in, the two slow pitch teams that are attending the border battle. We have 8 teams this year going to at least one event, multiple events for some of them.
And that one goes right back up the middle. Somehow Ben Watts got out of the way of that missile from Brian Abry as a one-out single puts Abry over at first base. But for the U15s, I know it was a bit of a learning curve over in Italy, ending up in the placement round, but ended strong, had a good showing in the placement round.
Yeah, and quite honestly, it's very difficult to prepare for those events for the girls. They don't get a chance to be together very long. And, they went out to Mexico the end of March. And, again, it's a learning curve and a learning experience whenever you're putting on Canada across, your chest to play in this game. I've seen it all across the board, men's, women's teams, the nerves and just the expectations, right? So it's pretty neat experience for them. I was around some of the families when I was in Mexico with them, and it's just a passion. And they had great fan support. I think every player had a parent, at least one, go up to both Mexico and Italy.
And then, of course, the women's this week, as that pitch comes in for call to strike. The women's team picked up a gold medal down in Colombia at the Pan Am qualifier, so that gets a few things accomplished for that team.
Yes, they qualified for the group stage next year for the World Cup, and then also the Pan Am Games. So we're anxious to get going. It's a plan for Olympics, the cycle to end in 2028. So head coach Kaylee Rafter and her staff are knee-deep in preparations and planning, and they're off to the Canada Cup. Actually, they're arriving, I think it's tomorrow or leaving tomorrow, and getting there for next week.
So you have that event, Canada Cup. You have this World Cup coming up in Prince Albert. And then also in, I believe it's September, October, the U23 team heads out to Argentina for the Pan Am qualifying round cycle.
Yeah, so U23s are right now tentatively September 11th to 21st in La Pampa, which is a new area to us in Argentina.
Matthew Waugh down on strikes with 2 down. Shane Boland will come to the plate.
And then in October, actually, unofficially as well, I believe it's the 4th to the 14th is the U18 qualifier for the men. And then don't forget, we have the World Games.
World Games for both teams, and then U18 girls down in Oklahoma City.
Correct.
Yeah, busy year for national teams. When we turn away from national teams, also another busy time of year, Canadian Championships.
Yeah.
Getting ready here in a couple weeks, actually. I guess the first one, I think, if I remember off the top of my head.
July 30th.
Yeah, the end of the month, right?
Yeah.
Walk us through kind of that process, and you try and spread them out. Obviously, it depends on the bidding process, but spreading them out across the country.
Yeah, it depends on the age category, obviously, and we do struggle a little bit on the boys and the men's side.
As Shane lines that one out to end the inning, work around the single by Abry, as it's a 2-1 lead as we're headed for the top of the 6th. We'll stay here with Mike Brancho, CEO of Softball Canada, as we get talking about Canadian Championships and spreading them out.
Yeah, so the bidding process, as you mentioned, obviously it'd be great to go kind of like East, Central, West, or East, West, Central in some type of order. But unfortunately, it doesn't always work out that way. But the boys program is where we struggle a little bit with numbers. But the girls, obviously, the U15, 17, and 19s are, I think between the three of them right now, we're we're up close to 70 teams, somewhere around there. So, and then I think grand total of teams participating is somewhere around 160 this year for
That's great.
for the Canadian Championship. So, yeah, it's a great way to end the season. Some provinces have a qualifying process, while other provinces tend to, have some type of either a provincial team or somebody that wants to attend. So, yeah.
What's for those maybe watching and looking for maybe something to host? I know from my experience, it's kind of a 2-year process, right? You bid 2 years out, so bid processes would open for 27 in October, I believe.
Correct. October 1st, 2025 will open bids for 27. We currently, I believe, have a few open in 26 still. I'm not sure off the top of my head, but it's all on our website, softball.ca, under Canadian Championships. But yeah, it'd be great if, a lot of times too, the hosts are like a great example is right here in Saskatoon. They tend to host, 1 to 2 events every year with us, and we're very appreciative of that. But what a tremendous facility to do it in. So and I think the key point too is a lot of the facilities are championship ready with some modifications, and we have some with 7 teams, so you don't really need that multi-diamond facility. We can make it work with one main diamond and a secondary for a game or two.
As we kind of look towards, bigger picture, international events, it's always nice to host. Your role with WBSC and this upcoming World Cup, how hands-on would Softball Canada be with the host committee in Prince Albert? Benny Noka gets into that one. It's going to carry to the wall, but stay within the ballpark.
So we support the bid initially with Prince Albert, with the WBSC, and then basically turn it over to the local host committee with some hands-on stuff with them, and also with WBSC. We had monthly calls leading up to next week, and it's just a great communication piece whenever we have that 3-way with the host and WBSC.
Long-term vision, kind of what's the 5-year plan for Softball Canada?
Well, it obviously growing the game. That's the biggest thing, and numbers have shown that we are growing over the last couple of years. Umpire program, for instance, has had its best numbers ever last year.
Oh, great.
Registration numbers overall has jumped probably about 15-20% since the COVID years. We did lose a few key sponsors, for instance, with our Timbits program with Tim Hortons, but they were so great with us for 5+ years. Rawlings is our main sponsor of not only our national teams but our Canadian championships as well, and we appreciate them. Home Run Sports. So with those great partners, you can build some programs. Our FastPitch program is still strong. I think that's one of the biggest ingredients, I guess you could say, to having a successful start to you need pitchers. You can't play this game without pitchers, just kind of like umpires. So, I think our pitching program is very good. Always looking for ideas and way to grow the game, and we're pretty successful in that right now.
No, that's great. Well, we'll let you get out of here. I know you're heavily invested in this one, but I appreciate the time. It's always great to chat, and truly appreciate the support that you have given the broadcasting, streaming, and all that, and the help and support that comes from Softball Canada. So I appreciate it, my friend.
Perfect.
And have a great rest of the night, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll see you all week as well. Thanks, Kyle.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Mike Brancho, CEO of Softball Canada, as he looks ahead, 5-year plan tight, looking for growth and pitcher development would be some of those key things. But, of course, also, man, is that a busy national team schedule on the docket for the rest of this summer and in the future, as the WBC, of course, has introduced the staged qualifying portion, as John Stewart now will come out. Seth Gibson drew a 1-out walk down to first base. Always good to hear, and we've been lucky enough today by a number of great people in the softball game. Of course, Warren Jones, Bevan Matani, part of New Zealand softball and team leader here this week. And now Mike Brancho and, of course, Brian Kozorowski, the host here in Saskatoon. Always appreciate their time and efforts, and everything coming on here and answering some questions is always a great chat. So appreciate everybody joining us here today, as my main man Chris Abbott will step back in as we look to wind things up here at the Four Nations Cup. Canada dodged a bullet last inning. Trying to do that here as Devin offers pitch to the corner for strike one. Justin Schofield, Chris, is back warming. Riley Macchia at the plate.
Yeah, McCullough, obviously the last couple of innings hasn't been as effective, so I wonder how long the leash is.
In for strike two, and I would think after that visit from John Stewart, you might be coming towards the end, as Scof is definitely, throwing a touch harder down there. And that ball goes up the elevator shaft. Boland sideways out under and makes the catch. Nice play by Shane to stay square and get squared as that ball came down.
Yeah, that's a big out. Getting Riley Macchia tied up inside. Boland tracking back about 15 feet into the grass for the second out.
So Cole Evans now will come to the plate. Did we win the 50-50?
No, not even close.
Come on. And that one for a strike. You had me excited for a minute when you walked out and went right and stood beside Brian after the ticket was drawn, but I didn't see us celebrating, so I figured we did not win.
Got to work again tomorrow.
McCullough, as that pitch climbs up out of the zone.
Our tickets all started with 390, and the winning one was 389. And then there was a string of numbers behind that.
That's a tough break. 1-1. Misses. Ball two.
But we donated to the youth of Saskatchewan, and I'm happy about that.
For sure. Yeah, actually, the University of Saskatchewan Huskies softball program, the benefactor of the 50-50 draw this week. On the edge, called strike two, 2-2. Big spot here for McCullough. Time called as Evans just needs an extra tick. Gibson at first. Off and running, and that ball gets fouled off. So give the runner a head start there, Chris, with 2-2 count.
Yeah, well, nobody controls the bat better than Cole Evans. If it's way off the plate, then it's probably not in a good throwing position for Blake Hunter. McCullough's kept the changeup in the pocket most of the night, Kyle. I don't know if you've noticed that. It stood out to me the last couple of innings.
2-2. Sawed him off. Down on a knee, and Abry in time at first. Work around the walk. Headed for the bottom of the sixth. 2-1 Canada here at the Four Nations Cup. Bottom of 6. It's Bradley Ezekiel, Ty Sebastian, Quentin Bruce due to the plate. Ben Watts back out on the pitcher circle for his second inning of work. As that one works down for ball 1. Kyle Smith, Chris Abbott, and Softball Premier TV. Carol and Claudio working with us. We're working for them, really.
They're making us sound and look good, Kyle. We're just sitting here running our mouths.
2-0. Hard hit ball. Reese Evans gloves it and on to first. Well struck by Bradley.
Yeah, that's some kind of reaction time by Reese Evans down there. When Brad Ezekiel turns on a pitch like that, quick move to his left and a good throw. And Ezekiel's retired to start the inning.
Ty Sebastian now stands at the plate. He is the difference maker at this point.
Has been all day, frankly.
Hard one there for strike 1.
Tell you what, Watts has looked good out of the bullpen here.
Down to Evans again. Over to first. 2 down.
Yeah, almost a carbon copy. This time he had to reach just a little bit to his right instead of his left. And just what you want if you're New Zealand here, trying to hold the fort till you get your last swings in the 7th.
John Stewart out to
maybe asking if that was a foul ball or not. There was also the time call in the middle of the at-bat, and the pitcher did not reset. He just kind of kept going.
We're going to pull the umpires in.
So just before that pitch and just before this replay here, time had been called, and then the pitcher went right into his rotation. I don't think there's any doubt that it was a fair ball. But I think it has more to do with the stoppage of play and then how it was restarted. And at this point, I don't know what you could do. Whether, I mean, you could go back, but don't see that happen very often. And let's see.
I think we're going to need an explanation on this one.
Yeah, but to me, it has something to do with the timeout call.
Well, it must be.
Because it's clearly a fair ball. And the umpires wouldn't need to get together for that. And Ty Sebastian remains with the bat in his hand. So that pitch is going to be stricken from the record. So Daryl Helmer now, after speaking with the New Zealand bench, is chatting with Jeff Ellsworth on the third base line.
I think they're trying to figure out what the count is, and I heard Daryl say as he stepped across, they're going to reset it to before. So whatever the count was, they're going to have it on their counter, but it's whatever the count was at the time of the pitch.
1-1.
So 1-1 count.
Well, it'll be good to get the debrief from the Blue Crew after this one.
So it is about time, and I guess, and yeah, we'll have to debrief. We'll find out about it, but like you said, and maybe we re-rack the replay, but it must have been that he didn't. Oh, now what are we doing?
Stewart is arguing that it should be a ball, maybe, or an illegal pitch. Because I think that might be the crux of the situation, that it could be an illegal pitch. He started on the mound, and he just continued his windup after the time call.
But I think the problem there would be is that it wasn't assessed, and you can't assess it because it's a delayed dead ball.
Yeah.
Right? So then you take the option, bring him back. So the count 1 ball, 1 strike. That one misses 2 balls and 1 strike. Again, Chris, we've seen it all today.
We have. We have. I mean, it's been an absolute pleasure, man. It's been so great. And to think we've got, 22, 24 more games coming our way? 24, I believe.
And called the strike to the corner, 3-2. I think it's 22 games coming down the pipe. Looking us square in the eye. That one inside and blocked up by Cam Watts. Quentin Bruce at the plate. Pinch runner Nick White.
Well, I don't know. I was taking the break while Mike Brancho was in here, but I thought they may have ran for Brian Avery when he singled last inning. It'll be Nick White here in the 6th running for Ty Sebastian.
Yeah, that would have been a fit too, for sure.
Number 52, Quentin Bruce.
One down. Quentin Bruce at the plate. Nick White over at first. First pitch misses, ball 1.
White pinch ran in the game earlier against the United States, and he was caught stealing.
In for call to strike. The look on Quentin's face, I think there might have been something on, and I think he was maybe a little surprised that Nick's still over at first. One ball, 1 strike count. And there for strike 2, 1-2.
Watts perfectly painting the outside corner on that one.
1-2 count. White still at first. Bruce awaits. Off and running. Throw down. Safe over. Here
Whoa,
comes.
here we go.
Here comes everyone pouring out of the dugouts. Lots of smiles on their faces.
Oh, that was a hard collision out there at second. White's laughing it off. Evans kind of rolled over on him. There's been plenty of bad blood in this rivalry through the years. Here's another look at everything, Kyle.
So a throw down. Cole looks like he's coming across to block the base, and then, yeah, he's on top of him. And Nick trying to get his arm out. Rolls over. Call was safe at 2.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt that Cole Evans was blocking the bag before the ball got there. And Nick White had his arm in. They got tangled up. Looks like cooler heads will prevail. And again, we've seen a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I keep racking my brain thinking, like, there's nothing else that we can see that's going to pop up here. And I gave you the forewarning, fans. You don't want to leave early because it's just how it's gone this week. Two. Inside, fought off. Count stays even. And I'll remind everybody, these two teams play each other opening night down in Prince Albert. Tickets still available, or you can buy your package online at gametime.sport.
Where the intensity will be way higher than it is here in this game.
For sure.
Add in the energy of 7,000 fans we're expecting at the park.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Inside, swing and a miss. Big strikeout there for Ben Watts. Quentin let out a scream after he couldn't hold up.
That ball just kept coming inside on Bruce. Real nice pitch. Looked good out of the hand.
Ben sets. Inside, fouled off. No balls and a strike. 2-1 Canada out in front. Runner in scoring position. Speedy Nick White. Single here easily scores him from second base. Pomeroy 0 for 2. Ground out, pop out. Off the hands, fouled off. Really pounding inside on the zone, Chris.
Very effectively as well. Not afraid to go in there. And especially to the left-handed hitters. And that's tough to do as a right-handed pitcher. Really get in under the hands of the lefties.
Quick conversation on the mound, probably changing what sign they go with. After Nick White been out there for a batter in a bit. 0-2. Two down. Rise ball outside and climbing. 1-2. One-two count. Rise ball fouled off right side, giving hot pursuit over to the wall, but it's just too far to gather it up, and it bounces right back in. So somebody loses $1 on that exchange.
Just to get to that was tough for Palmer. Look at the effort by Cooper Nicola. And Makia Marakatea.
Count stays 1 ball, 2 strikes. Watts works. Drop ball misses. Ball 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Just need to wipe that ball down. It's been picking up a little bit of dirt. There's a little bit of dampness in the air.
Yep. there is. It hasn't rained at all since we've been here.
And I haven't been up early enough to see if there's been any dews out on the grass.
Allegedly there has been, but
We've been told other long stories. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Swing and a miss. Picked it. Down on strikes goes Pomeroy. We're headed for the top half of the 7th. A 1-run ball game.
For Canada in the bottom of the 6th inning, no runs.
Away we go into the top half of the 7th, and we had a chance to chat with head coach John Stewart in between innings just to clarify what the situation was, and it was like we had thought, Chris, or that you had thought. On when time was called, he didn't break his hands and reset. Thomas Anoka to Krika Cooper Nicola, and Reese Evans are due to the plate. I did see Tawerda Bishop with a bat in hand as Schofield on in relief misses for ball 1.
well, Schofield's been called upon to close out the majority of the games here this week, and he'll have his toughest test yet right now.
You can hear the New Zealand bench picking up the intensity. Rise ball misses ball 2.
Schofield came on to close the game this morning, or earlier this afternoon, I suppose, against the United States.
2-0 count. Outside ball 3, 3-0. Now you got to get one here. Got to think Thomas would take. Right down the plate for strike 1. Thomas nodding in agreement.
It'd be tough to disagree with that one.
Lifted up. Hunter gives chase, but to no avail as it finds its way out of play.
Looked like a last split-second decision from Thomas Anoka to swing at that pitch. It was a rise ball that was on its way up and out of the zone.
The pursuit is on. for that foul ball.
Yeah, if it sounded like thunder in your computer speakers, that's the kids running around the grandstand, which is made of aluminum and above us.
And if you haven't been with us, they get $1 per ball. Payoff pitch. Fouled.
That's a real nice job by Anoka. It's a good pitch by Schofield on the inner half. He knows he can't do much with it. Doesn't want to risk it being called strike 3, so he just laid the bat out there. And then check with Darryl Helmer to say, was that or was that not going to be a called strike?
Canada 2 runs, 4 hits, no errors. New Zealand 1 run, 1 hit, no errors. Here in the 7th. Coming right after him.
Just missed that, did Thomas Anoka, from sending it about 350 feet in the other direction.
I'm told they can't hear the thunder at home, Chris.
Okay.
But we can.
It's just living in my head. They can hear the beeps of the scoreboard, but not the thunder at home. Very good.
Rent free.
10 for it.
Drop ball. Swing. Called strike 3. Full credit to Justin Schofield there, Chris Abbott. Down 3-0. Battles back for the strikeout.
And Schofield had been up to Anoka and gets him on a drop ball out of the zone that Anoka chased, just getting the swing through. And we will get a pinch hitter, Kyle.
To where the Bishop will come to the plate here for New Zealand. I had seen him with a bat in hand.
Power versus power.
Misses on the opener for ball 1. In for called strike 1. One. Bust inside. Hunter held that one just for an extra second, but couldn't get it for strike 2. 79 for Schofield on the last one. He's turned the wick up. 2-1. Fouled off. Gets to it. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Bishop having a better at-bat than he's had throughout the weekend,
Yeah.
Kyle. He was having trouble just making contact through the first few games. But big player coming up in a big moment here, having a good battle with Justin Schofield.
Two balls, 2 strikes to Bishop. Right after him, swing and a miss. Strike 3.
Justin Schofield put on his big boy pants for this at-bat. And that's the rise ball you want. Just at the top of the zone, shooting up late. A competitive pitch, and Bishop swings through.
So Reese Evans represents the last chance here to extend the inning. Justin Schofield looks to slam the door. Fouled straight back.
Evans with the universal sign for, I should have hit that instead of fouling it off. Thinks that might have been the one to hit.
Yeah, it was right there.
Rise ball caught a lot of the plate.
Oh, 1. Rise. Checks. He went well out of the zone and chasing. For good measure, I think you go a little higher, a little harder.
I was going to say 0-2. Put it back up there. Tough time of night to see Justin Schofield's rise ball, too.
It's not hard. He nods in agreement. Right down the middle. A swing and a miss. Schofield. A 1-2-3 7th. Canada. A 2-1 win. They win the Super 8 International Men's Four Nations Cup in lead-up. And Chris Abbott, another absolute treat that we just got to witness.
I mean, Kyle, I'm so happy we've been here all week, and thank you to everyone who's watched along with us. They know the same thing we do. It's been an absolute blast to watch these 8 games of softball. Canada going 4-0, and they're going to be flying high going into their host role in Prince Albert, and they've looked good. And Justin Schofield came in fell behind Thomas Anoka, worked back for a strikeout, got Bishop, got Evans. They want him in that closer role. He looked fantastic. Talk about the pitching for New Zealand today. All 3 of them looking very, very, very good. And if you ask me, that pool may be the tougher of the 2
for sure
coming up in Prince Albert, and the game Tuesday night is going to go a long way to determining who moves on to the Super Round.
I mean, you just witnessed a 7-inning 2-1 ball game, and we get to do it all over again in just 72 hours up the road in Prince Albert with 7,000 of our best friends in the house.
Player of the game for New Zealand, Thomas Anoka. Player of the game for Canada, number 8, ties the basket. And can we get the captains of Team Canada on board to accept the Super 8 International Men's Four Nations Cup, as presented by Brian Kosterowski from the host. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for him.
Well, Chris Abbott, as we bring it back in here to wrap up shop, I mean, man, you said it earlier today. If that's the entree, man, the main course is going to be bonkers.
Yeah, I mean, I'm super excited. I wish there wasn't 2 days in between now and first pitch on Tuesday, but that'll only build the anticipation. These 2 teams will meet on opening night in Prince Albert in front of thousands cheering for Team Canada. And these 2 teams, like earlier today, Argentina played the Dominican Republic in a warm-up game where they won 5-0. Tomorrow, Argentina and Japan's going to play a doubleheader to get going for the tournament. You've got the 8 best international softball teams in the world here. And if this Four Nations Cup tells me anything, it's that the WBSC move to the group stage format coming down to an 18 World Cup was the smartest thing they've ever done.
Yeah, I can't agree more. I mean, I know there's been a lot of criticism online about shortening it down and shrinking it down, but man, it's hard to change my mind on that. It wasn't, like you just said, the best decision ever made for the game and for what we're going to see here up in Prince Albert. You know, I'd be remiss, Chris, if I didn't say a a very big tip of the cap to one of the assistant coaches on Team Canada, Mr. Les Howie. He said before the game that this was his last game in Saskatoon. A guy that has given so much to the game of softball and so much to this national team program. What a fitting end to his games in Saskatoon. He did say, but boy, we have got work to do in Prince Albert. He said, this is just my last game here in Saskatoon. So a tip of the cap to you, Mr. Les Howie. We wish you the best and appreciate all your support of the broadcast here over the years. For Chris Abbott, man.
10 years to the day. 10 years to the day of the World Championship win, and now we're salivating for the next one.
Can't wait. 72 hours. You'll find us over on gametime.sport. Tickets are still available if you are in the greater Saskatchewan area, or if you know what, you got some holidays, you want to make a trip, get on out here. It is going to be absolutely phenomenal. For everyone here at Softball Premier TV, for everyone, and thank you to those of you watching at home for the host committee and the offer from Softball Canada to come out and work this pre-tournament event. It has been our privilege to bring these sights and sounds to you. For Carol Dureste, for our man on the left, Mr. Claudio from Argentina, for everybody here in Saskatoon. For Chris Abbott, I'm Kyle Smith. We'll see you down the road in Prince Albert.
Welcome to Mont Hill Golf and Country Club. With our beautiful 27-hole golf course open to the public, we work tirelessly to ensure your time with us is second to none. Well, here you'll be able to enjoy an incredible dining experience at our very own Big Pete's Steakhouse. Play some of the best courses in the world with our state-of-the-art golf simulators. Upgrade your gear with the top brands at our pro shop, or host a stunning wedding, event, or conference inside one of our beautiful ballrooms. Learn all this and more at monthill.ca. We can't wait to see you soon.